We got one going right now. Russell Gahagan here from Russell's Fishing Tech, coming back at you with part 3 of the 3-part series of rod spread videos. We've gone through the more complicated ones, so this one's going to be pretty simple. We talked about the 6-rod spread a couple days ago, which you got a lot of options there. We talked about the 9-rod spread for 3 people a couple days ago. Got a lot of options there. Now we're going to talk about the 12-rod spread today. And for the 12-rod spread, there isn't a ton of options. Really, there's just one optimal setup in my opinion. You might be able to alter that a little bit, but there's really one optimum setup, and that is the 2 downriggers, the 4 divers, and 6 planer boards. That gets you your 12 rods. Everything we're going to pretty much remain the same as far as the 2 downrigger setups are going to be on an 8-foot medium or medium light action rod with mono line. The 4 divers, you have some options there. That's where you're still left with some options. You could go with 4 braid. You could go with 2 braid and 2 mono. You could go with 2 braid and 2 wire, or you could go with 4 wire. What I'm finding is for most customers, the most popular setup is 2 braid and 2 wire. The braid being your high divers on those 9/6 rods we've been talking a lot about, and then your low divers being the wire divers. So those are your options as far as the divers go. That gives you your starting 6 rods, your 2 riggers and your 4 divers, and then obviously 6 planer boards. If you're running a 12-rod spread, you're probably either got a bigger boat or you're pretty committed to salmon fishing that you're going to have quite a bit of gear. Board-wise, you'd have some options there too, obviously, if you wanted to go with the standard pump handle setup we've been talking a lot about. So you got 6 rods that work in all different depths of the water column primarily. That would be probably a great setup. Otherwise, a guy could purchase just 6 of the Classic Pro copper rods like I've been talking about a lot in the videos. That 8/6 Classic Pro copper rod, that's $44.99, our best-selling rod at the TRS 2 locations for salmon rods. And then you can swap out reels. And what I mean by that is, for a lot of small boats, storage is an issue. And a lot of guys get into the copper and lead core, and that stuff really works, and that's awesome if you want to purchase that and go with that. So what it allows you to do is you can use those 6 Okuma Classic Pro copper rods that have the nice stainless guides like we've shown in the last 2 videos. You can use that on any type of line. So whether it's braided line for the pump handle setups, lead core line, copper line, or even the weighted steel, which is becoming very popular, you can use that Classic Pro copper rod for all of the above. So that way you got just 6 rods and you can interchange reels. It's a lot easier to store reels than it is to store rods, so that makes it really nice. So if you want to go with a starting lineup of lead core and copper, here's what I'd suggest. I had a couple conversations with customers today. If you want to start with 6 lead core and copper rods and then add to it as you go to build up a nice arsenal, I should say 6 copper or lead core reels, this would be the spread I would recommend. I'd go with a 3-color lead core, a 5-color lead core, a 150 copper, a 200 copper, a 250 copper, and a 300 copper. That would give you a nice range from about 15 feet down all the way down to about 70-75 feet. It covers a big span of water for you with those 6 rods, and copper and lead core being its weighted line, it's easy to use. You just let out all that line and hook the board to the backer, so it's really simple. But you don't get a lot of versatility there. That's your setup. You got a 3, a 5, a 150, a 200, a 250, and a 300. So if they're biting 20 down, you really only got one rod, that 5-color in that ballpark range. Maybe 3 to 5 colors. You might get some hot action on those. If you're biting around 40 down, your 150, 200 might be hot, your 200, 250 might be hot, whatever it may be the case that day. But likely it's only going to probably be a couple of those setups, versus if you're using the pump handle setup and you're able to run 6 rods in the general area, same area, now you got 6 rods in the strike zone. But a lot of guys like that lead core and copper and weighted steel because it's easy to use. It's no brainer. You just let it out, hook the braided line to the board and fish, and that's okay. So then you can add to that as you go. You can start with that 6 reel spread like I mentioned, and you can always add more as you go, so you end up with a pair of each. You know, you end up maybe with a pair of 3 colors, a pair of 5 colors, a pair of 150 coppers, a pair of 200 coppers, 250s and 300s. That's real popular. I have lots of customers, even weekend anglers, that have those reels. But there's no need to buy more rods. Don't worry about trying to store all those rods. Just get 6 of those Okuma Classic Pro Copper rods and go from there. Just remember, if you're going to go with, whether you go with the pump handles or the copper weighted steel type setups, you will want the bigger boards, either the offshore SST Pro Mags or like the bigger Opti boards or Gator boards or copper Ziggies or whatever it is that you prefer. Make sure you go with the bigger size boards so that so that you're able to pull those weighted lines or the heavy weighted pump handles off to the side far enough away from your 4-diver spread. So that sort of wraps us up on the 12 rod spread. Not a lot of options in that one, as we're limited on different things we can do. It's going to be the 2 riggers, the 4 divers, and the 6 boards. You got some options on what kind of diver setups you want to run, got some options on what kind of board setups you want to run. But for a guy that's rigging one up, which we did one today for a guy, took an order from a great customer that is going to redo his stuff. He hasn't bought new stuff in a long time. He's going with a 12 rod spread. This is exactly what he's going with, and he's really excited about it. So thank you all for watching my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hope you're enjoying it. If you need anything, make sure you give me a call at 920-395-2079. Otherwise, check the information below. Always put my email address in there, links to some of the product. If you want some stuff spooled up or something, just give me a call. Good luck. Good fishing.